Thank you, Pastor Sally. Thank you, parishioners. It's an honor for me to be here again this morning. Thank you. Today we're going to visit the Old Testament. You've already heard the first reading from the Old Testament, Genesis 10, and the response, which is the Psalm, Psalm 15. We're going to be checking out the figures in the Old Testament in the story this morning. We're going to meet Abraham, of course, who was featured in that first selection, and then Moses. We'll talk about tents and tabernacles and who shall abide on God's holy hill. So Abraham was first, of course. Abraham, 4,000 years ago, was the first to proclaim that there is only one God. Monotheism starts with Abraham. And he was also the first person with whom God made a covenant. God said, if you keep the faith, I will send you descendants as numerous as the stars, and you'll have your own special land to live in and special protection. Steadfast faith and trust in God starts with Abraham. He is called the father of nations, and there is hope that one day he may be the catalyst of unification between Christians, Jews, and Muslims, because they all revere him. Abraham was a nomad, living alone with his wife Sarah in a small tent, tending to his herd of sheep and cattle. 3 strangers came to their tent one hot, sultry day. They were not weary travelers at all, but messengers, angels from God. Abraham did not know this at first. They must have been walking for miles, he thought, and he quickly offered water to soothe their thirst and wash their feet. Sarah baked little cakes to soothe their hunger. And Abraham told his servant to pick the best calf and prepare it for a feast. His tent was probably small, not big enough to accommodate 3 more people, and a tent in scorching heat is no place to entertain. Thus, the feast was held outside, under shade trees, and Abraham joined them, and no doubt asked where they came from, where they had been. He was the perfect host, like the line from an obituary, never knew a stranger. They were about to leave, and one of the angels spoke up. Abraham was startled when this angel said that he would return in due season and Sarah would have a child, even though both Abraham and Sarah were in their 90s. The 3 messengers who visited Abraham are often called the Old Testament Trinity, and they've been featured in art over the centuries. And one of the most famous icons that was painted was by the Russian artist Andrei Rublev in the early 1400s. And you know, we have a copy of that very famous icon in our church here this morning. It's been a permanent fixture here. If you look to the front of the church, underneath the cross, you see the 3 messengers, the 3 angels, the Old Testament Trinity that we're going to speak about. Now, there are also pictures of the 3 messenger angels on the front page of your bulletin this morning, and also on page 4. Another picture. Thank you, Elaine. Abraham and Sarah did indeed have a son, Isaac, later that year. Abraham's faith and trust in God never wavered, even at the near sacrifice of his son. For this trust, he was rewarded with many descendants. One descendant in particular, Moses, 400 years later, would lead God's chosen people to the promised land. Now, Moses also had a tent called the Tent of Meeting, usually kept on the outskirts of the Israelite camp on their journey through the wilderness. In the beginning, God was present with his people in this simple tent. God eventually directed Moses to make a bigger, more ornate, portable structure enclosed by fine linen. And this was called the tabernacle and placed in the very center of their camp. The 10 Commandments given to Moses on stone tablets were kept in this tabernacle, and only those Israelites found worthy were allowed inside. Today's response to the reading, Psalm 15, makes reference to the tabernacle just mentioned. Psalm 15 shows us how we can prepare ourselves to be found worthy by the grace of God to enter God's presence. The psalm, as you may remember now, starts off by posing a question. Lord, who may dwell in your tabernacle? Who may abide on your holy hill? And here is the answer. Whoever leads a blameless life and does what is right, who speaks the truth from his heart. And the psalmist goes on to clarify, there is no guile upon his tongue. He does no evil to his friend. He does not heap contempt upon his neighbor. I was struck by that word contempt because I was recently watching a program on television from the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. They hold a series of lectures every so often that you can pick up. This one was hosted by Marianne Buddy, the Bishop of the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. And she introduced the speaker, Tim Shriver, the nephew of President John F. Kennedy, who discussed the Dignity Index, which he developed. This aims to prevent violence, ease divisions, and solve problems in the world today. Tim says there are 8 ways of dealing with others who have opposite views from us. Step 1, and I won't go through all 8, so I will do the first and the last. There's a lot here, and you can look it up online anytime you want to know more. The Dignity Index. Step 1, at the bottom of the effectiveness ladder, describes this way of talking about others. So it's the very bottom. It goes, they're not even human. It's our moral duty to get rid of them before they get rid of us. This is the contempt for others that Psalm 15 is referring to. Now, at the very top of the ladder, step 8, it goes like this. Each of us is born with inherent worth, so we treat everyone with dignity, no matter what. This reminds me of something from the baptismal covenant in our Book of Common Prayer on page 305. As you know, the covenant, a series of questions from the celebrant with replies from the people. So here's one of the questions that's posed. Will you strive for justice and peace among all people and respect the dignity of every human being? Our Bishop, Kristen White, refers to this also in a recent letter to the diocese. Another group called Braver Angels holds workshops teaching people how to reach across the divide. So both the Dignity Index and Braver Angels stress the importance of listening to the other side. In today's gospel, we read of Mary, whom Jesus praised for listening to him. After listening, we then acknowledge the other side's right to feel the way they do. Now, we can still speak the truth as we know it from our hearts, but by at least engaging civilly, showing basic kindness and respect, we might find common ground to work out a solution. Now, this reminded me of something that happened recently in the retirement village that I've just moved to. In Reynoldsburg, near the freeway, it's 6 stories high, highest point in the city. And I'm on the 6th floor, but I love it. Out there, they allow the residents to decorate their front doors, to be able to show some of their identity, as we talked about the last time I was here. I decided after my first day or two that I would take a walk down through the halls and just see what people put on their doors and right outside their doors. And it was amazing. You know, some people had balloons, some people had flowers, some had pictures, collections of seashells, statues, family pictures. But the one that struck me the most, the one I thought was really cool, just had a table by the door. It was about this high, maybe 3.5, 4 feet. And on top of this table was a bowl about this big, a glass bowl so you could see through. And it was filled with Hershey mini bars. Yeah, just help yourself. You know, but above this bowl was a little sign that said, "Kindness is free. Sprinkle that stuff everywhere." Sorry. Abraham showed kindness to the 3 strangers at his door. Let us also show kindness, and may we all, through the grace of God, be found worthy to stand at God's tabernacle. God is right here in St. Andrews, in our own tabernacle. We have one here. If you look up, just below Rublev's icon is the tabernacle. You may not be able to see it too well from the pews, but it's there, an ornately carved wooden box-like structure that houses the consecrated body and blood of Christ, the bread and the wine. And next to it is the tabernacle lamp, the red candle that is lit 24/7 to symbolize that God is always with us. And you can visit the tabernacle anytime here, provided the staff is present. Just press the front doorbell. You'd be very welcome. O Lord, may we be made worthy through heavenly grace to abide on your holy hill. As St. John said in his first epistle, those who do the will of God will abide with him forever.